Hi guys, welcome back or welcome to Dreamworks Switch to Life. And in today's video, we're doing our monthly upcoming Dreamworks projects where we discuss everything that we know Dreamworks is making. And surprisingly, we got a lot to talk about. So without further ado, let's dive into it. The next movie that Dreamworks is coming out with isn't even an animated movie. It's the live-action How to Train Your Dragon remake. And, well, even though Dreamworks isn't really making it themselves, we do know that they're taking the copyright for it. So, with that in mind, this is a Dreamworks movie. The film will be released in 2 weeks on June 13th, 2025. And before that, there's going to be some early screenings. If you want more details, go to the welcometoberk.com website. Also, on the same day, we're getting an art and making book about the live-action How to Train Your Dragon remake. And with all that in mind, apparently Universal thinks that this film is going to be so successful that they've already greenlit the sequel. Yeah, we're getting a live-action remake of How to Train Your Dragon 2, which will be released on June 11th, 2027. But now it's time to talk about the actual movie that Dreamworks will be making, and that, of course, is The Bad Guys 2, which will be released on August 1st, 2025, and we'll see the bad guys as they try to go good, but nobody really believes them, and eventually they're recruited by the Bad Girls gang to pull off one last heist, and it seems, based off of the second trailer, that they're going to try to frame the bad girls. Now, this is going to be a mainline Dreamworks movie, meaning that it's going to be made by Dreamworks themselves with a little help from Sony Pictures Imageworks. After that, their next mainline movie is going to be something called Forgotten Island, which has a release date of September 25th, 2026. We don't know much about this movie aside from the fact that it's being written and directed by the same people who made Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which probably means that it's also going to be made by Dreamworks themselves. However, that's not really confirmed. Unfortunately, we don't know much about the characters or the plot aside from the fact that it will focus on a group of people who end up stranded on a forgotten island that is inspired by Philippine culture. The movie that comes after will be Shrek 5 with a release date of December 23rd, 2026. We don't really know much about the plot aside from the fact that there will be a time skip since the fourth movie and that it will feature Shrek, Fiona, Donkey, and maybe Pinocchio, played by Conrad Vennard. And of course, Zendaya will be playing a grown-up version of their daughter, Felicia. However, I do have some bad news. Based off of rumors, again, not officially confirmed, it seems like Puss in Boots will not be in Shrek 5, which is kind of misleading with the end credit scene of The Last Wish, but here we are. If you ask me, it kind of makes sense though, because for the Shrek movies, Puss was just this comic relief side character, but after Puss in Boots, and especially The Last Wish, Puss now has that main character energy. He can't really be a side character anymore, he has to be front stage and center, and the best way to do that is to not have him in the movie. And now it's time to announce a brand new movie that Dreamworks is making. So they're partnering up with Moonbug Entertainment, and they're going to release Cocomelon the movie, which, if you don't know, Cocomelon is this really popular YouTube channel, which is just a bunch of nursery songs for kids and lessons and stuff like that. In fact, the YouTube channel is so popular, it inspired a Netflix TV show, and now it seems Dreamworks is partnering with Moonbug, and the animation will be provided by DNEG Animation, and they're going to release Cocomelon the movie at some point in 2027. After that, we have another release date of September 22nd, 2028. Unfortunately, we don't know what this movie is going to be. We just know that Dreamworks has reserved this date for one of their future movies. It could basically be anything. A brand new original movie, maybe a sequel like Kung Fu Panda 5 or The Wild Robot 2, or maybe even one that we already know about like Mice and Mystics or The Wizards of Once. Make sure to leave your thoughts down below in the comment section on what you hope this movie is. But with that in mind, we have to talk about one final movie, and that is Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie. I know some people will be excited that after months of waiting, we finally got a trailer for the movie, and the animation definitely looks improved compared to the TV show. When this was announced, I didn't really have high hopes since it would be a preschool movie, but I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. The film has a release date of September 26, 2025, and with that in mind, it's time to move to the TV show side of things. The first show we have to talk about is Gabby's Dollhouse, and we know that this series has been renewed and it's going to get at least 100 episodes. However, we don't know when the next season is going to be. If you ask me, I believe that the next season is going to be released this summer, either in July or August, before the movie comes out in September. If that doesn't happen, it doesn't really matter because we still know that future season is coming anyway. It's just going to be after the movie then. But with that in mind, let's move on to the next show, which is Jurassic World Chaos Theory. Now, we don't really know if this has been officially renewed, but we do know based off of a toy company, Mattel, that they're making toys for 2 seasons of Jurassic World Chaos Theory. One that will be released before Jurassic World Rebirth, which was season 3, and one that will be released after. And based off of the season 3 cliffhanger, it's highly likely that we're getting a season 4, and even more likely that season 4 will be the final season of the show. If you ask me, we could see season 4 sometime in August, but it wouldn't surprise me if we have to wait until October, because while Jurassic World isn't really a horror series, it does fit the thriller aspect. Speaking of shows coming out in October, it wouldn't surprise me if we got a season 3 of Mighty Monster Wheelies in October. However, since the show has finished its production phase, which is 2 seasons with an equivalent of 26 episodes, or I should say 52 11-minute segments, that means that it's up to viewership as to whether or not the show gets renewed. So again, it wouldn't surprise me if we got a season 3 in October, but it also wouldn't surprise me if we never get a season 3. Now, this next show isn't actually confirmed to exist, but I do believe that we're going to get a TV show based off of The Bad Guys. But since the Bad Guys 2 releases in just a couple of months, it's highly likely we're going to have to wait until after that for the show to be released. Again, the show hasn't been officially confirmed, but based off of the fact that we got a couple of Netflix holiday specials, which were marketed as part of a Netflix original series, yeah, I'm pretty sure we're getting a Bad Guys TV show. And now it's time to move on to our next streaming service. All of the shows on Peacock are officially over, but we do have confirmation that they're making a live-action Casper the Friendly Ghost series, which isn't really going to focus on the friendly aspect as much as the horror aspect. Unfortunately, we still have no idea when this show could be released. It could be this year, it could be next year, but honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if we got this horror ghost-focused series in October. And now it's time to talk about another Dreamworks movie, that of course being Dogman, which has just finished its theatrical run and is currently streaming on Peacock as of today. So with that in mind, go check it out if you want to support the movie, but if you don't want to subscribe to Peacock, you can wait about 4 months, as Dogman will be moving over to Netflix sometime during the last week of September. I wouldn't be surprised if it's September 30th or maybe even October 1st. And now it's time to move to our next streaming service. The first show we have to talk about is Berk, which just barely got its first season with 13 episodes. Now, unfortunately, when the show was ordered, audiences were only made aware that there was 1 season with 13 episodes. While there could be potential for a season 2, it would not surprise me if this was developed as a mini-series. Again, that hasn't been officially confirmed just yet, so maybe we'll get a season 2 in a few months. Who knows? The other show we have to talk about is Curses, which currently has 2 seasons with 20 episodes. And, well, both seasons were released in October. Season 1 in 2023, Season 2 in 2024. So it wouldn't surprise me that Season 3 would release in October 2025. However, if Season 3 doesn't release this October, it's highly likely that the show has been canceled. So, with that in mind, let's move to our next streaming service. So apparently DreamWorks is the copyright holder for She-Ra, and now Amazon wants to partner with DreamWorks to create a live-action She-Ra TV show. However, don't be surprised if it doesn't come out in the next couple of years, because it's actually going to be part of a live-action Masters of the universe, where we have a He-Man movie coming out on July 5th, 2026. It's highly likely that She-Ra will show up in an end credits scene of that movie, which will set up this live-action She-Ra TV show, which will be produced by DreamWorks Animation. So with that in mind, the other show I want to talk about is not really made by DreamWorks whatsoever, but again, DreamWorks does hold the copyright. That, of course, is a live-action Voltron movie, which has just barely finished filming. And while we do know the cast members, we don't know what characters they will be playing. We do know that the plot will focus on a new generation of paladins taking over the mantle from the old ones. And according to the director, this will be the Voltron that Voltron fans have dreamed about. We don't really have a release date for this Voltron film, but because it just barely finished filming, it would not surprise me if it got a theatrical release sometime in 2026. And now let's move to the video game side of things. So there's this console called Next Playground, and it seems DreamWorks has a partnership with them because they've already made a Kung Fu Panda Train Like a Master video game and a Gabby's Dollhouse video game for that console. Well, now we have a third game. Based off of the live-action How to Train Your Dragon remake, we have How to Train Your Dragon Riders of the Skies. We also have another video game based off of the live-action How to Train Your Dragon, and that, of course, is How to Train Your Dragon Roblox. Yes, joining Shrek Swamp Tycoon and the Gabby's Dollhouse Roblox game, we have a live-action How to Train Your Dragon remake video game on Roblox that you can play for free right now. Wow, How to Train Your Dragon is really getting a lot of cross-promotional games. Like last month, there was this Pool Masters event, which is still going on right now. But then, of course, I do have some bad news. There's a fourth game on Roblox called Kung Fu Panda Hero Showdown, which unfortunately is discontinuing. Unfortunately, the game didn't get enough support and the team decided that they were going to shut down the servers. So on June 4th, 2025, the game will be completely shut down and you'll never be able to play it. So be sure to go and play it right now while you still can. And finally, we got one last announcement, and that is How to Train Your Dragon The Isle of Berk, which is a small part of Universal Epic Universe, which as of a week ago has officially opened to the public. I've already bought my tickets and I can't wait to check it out. But with that in mind, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel as I plan to be doing a vlog of my trip to Universal Epic Universe and a few of the older parks. And with that out of the way, that is everything we know DreamWorks is coming out with. So to recap, we have DreamWorks' latest movie, Dog Man, releasing on Peacock today. So be sure to go check that out. Also, in preparation for the live-action How to Train Your Dragon remake, there is a lot of cross-promotional stuff going on, which includes How to Train Your Dragon The Isle of Berk opening to the public last week, and you can go and visit Universal Epic Universe right now. Yes, the park is based off of the animated version of How to Train Your Dragon, but the timing just couldn't be better. But based off the live-action version, we have a few video games, like How to Train Your Dragon Pool Masters, How to Train Your Dragon Riders of the Skies on Next Playground, a How to Train Your Dragon Roblox game, and speaking of Roblox, Kung Fu Panda Hero Showdown will be shutting down its servers on June 4th, 2025, so be sure to check it out while you still can. All of these fun events are stuff you can enjoy right now in preparation for the live-action How to Train Your Dragon remake, which will be released in theaters on June 13th, 2025, which with a few early screenings. And on the same day, you can also buy the art and making of How to Train Your Dragon. The next movie that DreamWorks is making is The Bad Guys 2, which will be released on August 1st, 2025. Then we will have Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie, which will be released on September 26, 2025. A year later, on September 25th, 2026, we will have Forgotten Island, a brand new original DreamWorks movie. After that, we have Shrek 5 coming to theaters on December 23rd, 2026. Then, on June 11th, 2027, we will have the live-action How to Train Your Dragon 2 remake, which serves as both a sequel to the live-action version and a remake of the animated version. Also in 2027, there is a partnership between DreamWorks and Moonbug Entertainment, which will be producing Cocomelon the movie. While we don't know an exact release date, we do know it's coming sometime in 2027. And the final announcement that we have is on September 22nd, 2028, DreamWorks will be giving us a brand new movie. We don't know what this movie is, we just know that DreamWorks reserved the date for one of their future projects. And with that in mind, thank you all so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe so that you can keep an eye out for when I post my trip to Universal Epic Universe. Be sure to comment down below which of these DreamWorks projects you're most excited for. And if you really want to support the channel, be sure to join my membership program. But above all else, make sure that you're staying safe out there, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye bye.